Hello guys, and welcome back to another skill point guide for Total War Warhammer 3 on Immortal Empires. Just before I get into this video, I just want to say thank you guys for your support on the previous skill point guide videos. I greatly do appreciate your guys' feedback and comments on those videos and letting me know what you guys are liking, what you think I should add or take away. So it definitely does help me out because it just lets me know that you guys are actually interested in them, and definitely helps me for future videos because I know what I can add in or take out and make some adjustments there. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys take the time to do that, because it makes me a better content creator, which means I make better content for you guys, and the cycle just kind of repeats itself. So again, just thank you. And I just know that I appreciate each and every one of you that take the time to leave a comment on the videos or streams or anything with the channel. But again, just thank you. But without further ado, let's jump on in. In this video, we are going to be going over Ikit. Ikit is definitely one of my favorite legendary lords in Total War Warhammer in general. Also, I mean, the fact that it's, a Skaven race makes it even better because I love playing Skaven. But anyway, jumping into his skill points, it kind of depends what you want to do with Ikit. You can do a lot, but a lot of times it's kind of been tested and tried by myself and a lot of other streamers as well. Ikit Claw is very good at basically harassing the enemy army. You can delay them when he's on either mount, whether it's the Doom Flare or Doom Wheel, but he's really good at just distracting the enemy, basically, especially in open field battles where he just kind of gets to harass. He gets to zoom around the map a little bit, the battle map anyway, and just kind of cause chaos for the enemy because they don't know whether to come for your army, whether to go for Ikit Claw. So he's just a really good legendary lord in regards to that. Now, for his skill points, as per usual, always put a point into Root Marcher. Now, as Skaven, I actually recommend going down his blue line a little bit and grabbing the 3 points into Ancient Cunning, which boosts your ambush success chance. Because if you're unfamiliar with Skaven have a base stance of stalking, which allows them to ambush, or potentially ambush rather, enemy forces and armies on the campaign map. Now the base chance does have a negative 15% chance to ambush, so being able to ambush, or increase that ambush success chance rather, will be better for your armies in the long run, because as Skaven you want to be constantly ambushing your enemies' armies. So really good. Usually it's the first 3 points I end up grabbing, and then after that actually I usually end up going down the he's kind of got 2 special skill lines. It's very rare to see that in Total War Warhammer 3, because as you guys have seen, like in the Tyrion skill point guide, he does have like 2 special skill trees, but one blocks out the other, but Ikit Claw here doesn't. So what I recommend getting after you get Ancient Cunning is going down this skill line here and getting the second wind serum. So to get there, we got to grab some power armor, which is good, gives them more physical resistance, which is really good, and then the jetpack, really good for speed, so we can zoom around the battle map even further. More hit points, because more hit points for any character in the game is always a good thing, never a bad thing. It only takes those 2 points to unlock these abilities here. Now, as you can see, picking one does lock out the other. However, one of them is definitely better than the other, and that is the second wind serum. Every time he casts a spell, it provides him a heal per second by 0.8%, and also gives him melee defense plus 12 while casting, which lasts 15 seconds. The adrenaline rush makes him unbreakable and armor piercing damage, but the reality is he's not going to be in melee that much, because as you can see, his melee stats are not that great. 50% armor piercing damage out of 194 base is just not that big of a deal. It's not going to make him a strong melee fighter even with that extra bonus. So just grab the regeneration, really good ability. That way, if he does end up getting caught in melee when he's zooming around the battle map, you're able to heal him instead of having to rely on like getting a Scalm or a potion of healing or something like that. Now after that, I usually spend a few points into his actual magic line. He has the lore of ruin, excuse me, which isn't like the greatest lore in the game, but it's pretty good nonetheless. Warp Lightning is a really good spell. It does 100% armor piercing damage, which is fantastic. So usually what I end up doing is putting 2 points into Warp Lightning, grabbing the Musk of Fear. It's just a passive ability that occurs when casting, which just debuffs the enemy by a melee attack of -12 and their leadership -4, which is really good, and it's the entire battle map there. And then Howling Warp Gale is really good because more likely than not, if you're playing as Ikit and you're utilizing the Forbidden Workshop with the weapons teams, you're building weapons team type armies. So the one problem that Skaven run into a lot is fighting flying units, which this allows you to halt them in place for 28 seconds. So a really good spell. That way it gives your gun units like Jezzails, Rattling Guns, Warp Lightning Cannons, and any other type of weapons team unit you may bring to the battlefield. It just gives them more time to actually shoot those units down. Now Scorch, I actually recommend putting 2 points into Scorch, which I'll go over here in a little bit. But then just to fill out the rest of his magic line, get Crack Skull, Cleansing Ruin, Magical Reserves, and Unlimited Power. Unlimited Power is really good. It does have a miscast chance of 50%, but the power recharge and the reserves per second is definitely worth taking that risk, because again, you're able to heal him with the Second Wind Serum, and more likely than not, as long as Ronald is with you, you won't miscast every single time you use it, and it's just a really good way to get extra Winds of Magic when you're starting to run low. Now, the reason why I put 2 points into Scorch is because you can cast this for dirt cheap, even though it doesn't have any armor piercing damage. As you're starting to run low on your Winds of Magic, it can become a barely cost-effective spell. So you're able to reduce it already by 2 Winds of Magic for an unupgraded cast, but also in the Forbidden Workshop on the, I believe it is the Doomflayer, within the Doomflayer category, bio interfaces reduces Scorch cost of Winds of Magic by 3 for all characters. So it's just, you're able to reduce it 3 Winds of Magic there, and then another 2 Winds of Magic just by putting the points in. So that's how you're able to cast Scorch for just dirt cheap. And it's just a really good spell early on, dealing with, you know, low garbage units that the Empire brings to the table. Bretonnians melee infantry are complete garbage. They won't have a lot of armor to deal with. Same with greenskins until you know, they obviously start getting black orcs, but just a really good spell to nab there. And then after that, usually I end up going down his second special skill tree. Power Overload just reduces the cooldown for all spells, so he's casting more and more often, which is always really good. And then I grab the Warp Tech Academy, the improved Warp Storm Detector, and then I even actually grabbed the Brass Orb Upgraded. It does pretty good damage in the upgraded version, and it's just a balance spell that he gets for free. It doesn't cost you any Winds of Magic, and so why not make it a little tougher? Now these two abilities are really good. It provides you the improved Warp Storm Detector, just gives you more chance to acquire Warp Fuel, which if you're unfamiliar when playing as Ikit, you can use it to create Warp Storm Doom Rockets. You use it to upgrade the Forbidden Workshop, whether it's Doom Flares, Doom Wheels, weapons teams, whatever it may be. So it's always a good thing when playing as Ikit faction of Clan Scryer to grab that, just so you can get more warp fuel after fights. And then this last one here just provides loyalty for Warlock Masters faction-wide, which the Warlock Master is just a general that you can recruit, which is just a weaker version of Ikit himself, but still a really good lore to lead your armies as Skaven for any faction, really. But other than that, in terms of his other two abilities, I don't really get them for various reasons. It kind of, the very latest thing just depends on what mount you want to use. Personally, I recommend the Doomflayer because it's smaller, and so he's harder to hit by enemy missile fire. And the Doom Wheel is just clankier. It doesn't move as fast. It's harder to get it turned around, and it does have a, if I swap it here, it does have a missile attack, but other than that, it's just not really worth it in my opinion. It does give him more health, but at the same time, you're not going to be using him as a melee fighter in your battles. So really, I really recommend just going with the Doom Flare over the Doom Wheel. And the optimized production, you're playing Skaven, especially with Ikit Claw. More likely than not, you're not going to be going for a Doom Flare or Doom Wheel Doom Stack. And really, the recruit rank and recruitment duration -1 isn't that big of a deal, even if you were to recruit those units within his army. So I don't really worry about those 2 points at all. But then after that, it's kind of just filling out the rest of his skill tree. Usually I'll grab Sneaky and Tricksy. Just provides him more missile resistance, more spell resistance. I mean, anything resistance wise for a character, whether it's a hero or lord, is pretty good to grab. So definitely grab those. And then assuming you're going with a weapons team army approach, going down his red line here, grabbing Blastmaster, which just gives your weapons team units more ammunition and a reload time reduction, making their weapons fire faster, which means they're dishing out more damage over a certain time period. And then engineering skill, again, assuming you're grabbing some artillery, it's just going to make your Plague Claw catapults or Warp Lightning cannons better for you there. Grabbing Rally, just because it unlocks the next tier, and then getting Warp Smart provides more weapon strength for your weapons team's units, more leadership. The bonus versus infantry isn't that big of a deal, but the spell resistance can be pretty nice, so it's good to grab that. And then standard die is good just because if he ends up getting caught into melee, it just provides him with more melee defense, which if you end up casting magic while also activating this ability, you're going to get plus 24 melee defense with standard die, plus another 12 from the second wind serum. So right there, that's what, 12 and 24, that's a 36, so you're doubling his melee defense right there, bringing it up to 72, which is just really good, and also buffing up his leadership. So if he does get stuck, you know, it's less likely that he will break, because when playing as Skaven, leadership is something you constantly have to be looking out for, because Skaven are cowards, to put it mildly. So making sure that they don't break when they do get caught up in melee is definitely a good thing there. But after that, really, this is kind of like the base loadout in terms of spending skill points, and as you can see, we still have a few left over, and after that, it really just comes down to a dealer's choice. Now, one thing in Warhammer 3 that you'll probably see in a lot of these videos that I recommend getting is the mentor ability. That way, when he does hit rank 50, he's not taking all of that experience just for himself, but instead sharing it to other lords and also heroes within the army. So definitely grab mentor if you can with a lord. And then after that, why not give him some more melee attack, weapon strength, give him double insulation for more resistances. Again, resistance in the game, 2 thumbs up, get it if you can. And then really after that, there's not a whole lot left. I usually end up filling out his magic line, getting Death Frenzy, because again, why not? And then really just end up going down his the rest of his blue line, which it's just dealer's choice whether you want to loot a settlement. I usually go with the corruptive, because he's more likely than not he's going to be in enemy territory a lot of the time, so providing a little extra Skaven corruption isn't going to hurt whatsoever. And then Draft Master, and then your last few points, it kind of depends what you want to do again, but I usually do all mine just to give yourself more chances, a higher chance rather, of stealing a magical item of the enemies, and also giving yourself more post-battle loot. Because as Skaven, with their food mechanic, you want to be anyway, fighting as many battles every single turn as you can. So with that logic, the more battles you fight, the more money you make, and so on, rinse and repeat. But anyway, that is the skill guide for Ikit Claw. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section on how I've upgraded him, or recommend, or not upgrading him, but how I spend his skill points. Let me know if you guys do anything differently, whether you end up going with the Doom Wheel over the Doom Flare, feel free to pop that in there. Explain why. I'm more than happy to hear your guys' thoughts as to why you actually prefer the Doom Wheel over the Doom Flare. But thank you guys for your support. Again, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the comment. And I will see you guys again for the next content on the channel. And until then, have a good one, and I will see you guys later. Bye.